Hello, hello. I am
Hi,
here today with Emma Campbell. Sorry, I interrupted you.
that's okay. Go ahead.
I just want to say how happy I am to have you here. And I'm just sure this is going to be a really good conversation. So would you like to start out letting us know who you are?
Hi, yes, I'm Emma Camble, an intuitive coach, and I work with mothers and parents to look after themselves the same way that they look after their children. And one of the ways that I do this is with inner child healing and inner dialogue.
That sounds really nice. I can't wait to hear more about that. Would you start out by sharing how your sensitivities have shaped your life, how they have played a role?
Yeah, of course. So as a kid, I had an incredible imagination. So but it meant that I couldn't watch telly like the TV like the rest of my family, because I'd be hiding behind the sofa. They just used to have to play sort of scary music, and it was enough for me to leave the room. Exactly. Yes. And so I sort of felt from an early age I was missing out on other people's activities because of my sensitivity. And I mean, I love books. I absolutely adored books. And after going to bed, I'd have my book under my covers, carrying on reading, not wanting to put the story down, whichever world I was in at the time.
Yes.
And I kind of struggled with just remembering all the boring stuff that that you have to do, take your homework to school. I could do the homework, but it was just actually
wasn't that interesting, was it?
No. So everyone would be, oh, she's away with the fairies, that kind of story. Vague, dreamy. I just had this really rich inner world that I wouldn't habit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, yeah?
Yes. It was on the tip of my tongue because yes. And the books, I think part of it is that with movies, we get everything sort of pushed on us. But in a book, we can create the settings and the scenes and the scenery and add all the flavor and the details. I think
that's so true. I've got a rule to this day. I won't watch the film of a book until I've read the book, because I don't like it when other
people get the people wrong.
That's so funny. It's true though. When the people don't look like the people I've invented for the book, I can't watch the film. It's like
yes.
Yeah, that's really funny.
We have our own inner movies, I guess.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And I am very visual. Yeah. So the words would just paint a picture.
Yes.
We had a library van where I lived in the countryside. It was kind of like the ice cream van for me.
Yes.
I don't know. Have an ice cream van coming along, and all the kids run out their houses, or wherever they are, yelling. Well, we were allowed 5 books. It used to come out on a monthly basis. And so while my mom was running into the house to gather all the ones that I'd already read, I was first on the back of the truck, and just this beautiful van filled with bookshelves. It was crazy.
Magical world on wheels.
And on the outside, they made it really kind of beige, kind of bland beige color. And I think it just had the words mobile library on it. There's nothing, it wasn't like an ice cream van, but in my mind, it felt like it. Because it's which new worlds can I escape to next? Yeah.
I'm away with the fairies and lost in all this.
Yes, that childlike awe, isn't it?
Yes. So you had your imagination very vividly, and you're intuitive. So I'm guessing you picked up on things other people didn't notice.
Yes. And how I work with that now is that I I do get visions and energy pictures of what's going on for my clients, and yeah, for anything really. I guess when you have got a vivid imagination, and it throws up images for you all the time, you know, it's like you can get distracted by it quite easily, because it's always giving you pictures. What I've learned, that actually whilst they seem random, these images and thoughts that fly past our minds, actually, as I've been paying more attention to them as an intuitive coach, I'm realizing that some of them impressions are useful for other people, and when I share them, they're a way for people to access sort of hidden emotions or subconscious patterns that they wouldn't otherwise see without that without that help from me. So the more
you clarify and put words to what's only a sense, maybe, or
yes, exactly. The more I use it, the stronger it becomes, and the more confident I am that I'm receiving useful intuitive information on behalf of another person that isn't necessarily something that's relevant for me, or so I mean, I'll check with my client, obviously, but more often than not, the images and senses that I experience are incredibly valuable, because they help people feel seen and heard and understood in a way that would a long time with ordinary coaching.
Yes, I can imagine. Sometimes the best gift we can give someone is to see them and discover them. And when we as people feel that, when we meet someone who recognizes who we are, that's just so beautiful, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. And well, we feel safe with them because we can show them all of ourselves. So I think part of being highly sensitive is understanding that part of you doesn't kind of fit in a way. It doesn't fit into what's supposed to happen, what other people do, and it can be it creates this sort of inner conflict.
Yeah, absolutely.
So being really true to ourselves, then we choose a different environment. We choose a more suitable option. But then the messages we're experiencing externally are, but you should be loving this one. This is the option that everybody goes for. That doesn't seem right for me. And then it's really hard when you're little to actually kind of start, especially when you're sensitive, to sort of stand up for what feels right for you. And quite often people can end up feeling it's gaslit, really. It's like, because someone who isn't that sensitive, who isn't as sensitive as you, just won't get it. They just won't get it. So an adult could tell you, that's really nothing to worry about, you know.
Yes. You're just imagining things.
Yeah, exactly. But actually, looking back, I can, well, especially since I've had my own children, and my eldest is highly sensitive. So I can understand now. It was kind of healing for me to be there for them when they were struggling with these things that look from the outside really silly little things. Whatever they are. Were
you aware of your own sensitivity at this time?
Well, it was
before you noticed it in your kids, I mean.
I wasn't, no. I think because I'm not your typical highly sensitive. I love external processing. I'm an extrovert, so
that's kind of rare. Most of us just want to go home and hide when it's all too much.
So it looks like I'm the life of someone party, but at a party, what I really like to do is go off to a corner and have a really deep chat with with somebody about life, the universe, and everything. And whilst I do enjoy kind of the group energy and experiencing that kind of excitement from a lot of people, I do need to retreat then and recharge.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think it's very interesting what you say about gaslighting. That's a term that has been coming up a lot, and then the confusion. I was talking to a previous guest who said that he had this sense that when he was talking to people, he got two messages: their words and then what they were actually feeling.
Yes.
So he was confused, and I recognize that as well. And for me, I tend to want to believe people. So if they tell me that they're happy, I'm like, okay. And then in my mind, I'm still like, but then why don't you feel happy? What's going on?
That's really interesting, because that is a thing, but that's a really important tool, being able to spot that incongruence. That's one of the things that is a great coaching tool, because if you can hear the words that they're saying and they're trying to believe, and you can sense that all of their energy is,
and their soul is screaming something else.
Exactly. Then that's like, oh, right, well, let's start there, shall we?
Yes. I think there's stuff here. Yes.
So, and quite often what I guess what you're picking up on, what your previous podcast guest, sorry, I don't know his name, was picking up on there, is that the incongruence is basically, I kind of lost my thread now, but they're gaslighting themselves. That's what I was saying. So
wow. Yes. Yeah.
So for all of the times that we bulldoze that little younger version of us who has all these sensitivities and feels them really keenly, it's not their imagination, they're not making this stuff up. They really do feel that way. They experience that sensitivity in very keenly, and for every time they're told, oh, don't be silly, this is something that just happens, it's fine, it's not a big problem. So every time they're told that, in an attempt to cheer them up and get on with it,
well-meaning, but
the shoes are stick. If the seams of the shoes are too scratchy, let's just go. I mean, I'm a mom.
Yes.
I do this myself, the frustration. And every time they have to kind of go through that, it's like, okay, I can't feel this way. I'm just gonna have to ride roughshod over those feelings. And then there's a part of them that retreats a little bit more, and that's what I do. Help adults basically recover that little sensitive soul that doesn't feel that they can really say what they're feeling.
Can you explain a bit about how you do that? Because I mean, that's so important, isn't it? To reconnect with that, instead of feeling like a split personality. Well, I have to be like this out in the world to fit in, kinda. But this is how I feel at home or inside.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, at the basis of it, it's just self-compassion. I mean, as my
just that is so big. Yes,
I know, that's it. So and they, I guess we internalize those frustrations. We internalize all the people who told us to, we internalize that voice to get on with it and toughen up a bit
and not be a bother.
Not be a bother. Those are the solutions to having too much sensitivity. And that's what I guess, that's what I try and help unpick and become. I bring awareness to with my coaching. So where are you telling yourself that you just need to muscle up, and and it might not be the right thing to do. And then slowly, it takes a long time though. It's well, it can take a couple of months before the inner child is ready to reconnect, because
it requires a lot of trust, doesn't it, when you've been shut down so many times.
And their job really, an inner child's job is to look out. Are they safe? Is there danger? They know that so keenly, in a way that we can kind of ignore as adults because we've got a busy job to do. Or you can kind of push things aside, but you carry on pushing things aside like that for a long time, and then you're kind of distancing yourself from a part of your soul that is truer. It's even more you.
Yes, sort of a pure original version.
Before we had all our personality programs put on top. So reaching that sort of younger, more sensitive, truer version of ourselves. That's what I aim. That's what I guide my clients to do, and watching them reach out to this very tenderly reach out with compassion, and showing, giving their inner child the space to be heard and seen and felt. It's so deeply healing. And then they're able to see when they're actually triggered, if in their own environment. You can kind of silence them if you ignore them enough. Do you know? Lots of people do. And then you can, it sort of puts you back in touch with your high sensitivity, which sounds like, why would you want to do that? But some people.
I'm so sad when I hear people like, oh, I wish I could shut this off, and I'm like, no, it's the most beautiful part of who you are.
Exactly. So and as they soften into a safer place for themselves to exist, then actually through that experience there is greater power, and there is greater strength.
Oh, absolutely.
Through the sensitivity, and that is the most wonderful feeling as a coach.
That's such beautiful work to do, to be the one who helps create that safety. And
I mean, that's all they need. That's all. The clients do it all themselves. They find their inner child, and they kind of scoop them up, and they really hold them close to their heart, and they listen. They can tell me then what, they got really upset this week, something happened at work, and they were having this massive tantrum, but they wouldn't have known that before. They just squished it, like work's not a place for tantrums, so I can't have one.
No room for that. We have a deadline.
Yes, exactly. So it's all those little micro shutdowns, I suppose, that I help unpick.
Wow, that's really interesting. What is your sense about, because they say there's about 20% highly sensitive people.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, that's I think introverts versus extroverts, that's 25% introverts. But I think sensitivity, but I mean, who's got to measure that? But that's the number I've seen, that about 20% are highly sensitive. But I'm sometimes wondering if we aren't all sensitive.
Well, that's it, isn't it?
So because I mean, so I think my question is, do you see your clients, or the clients who come to you, are they the sensitive people, or is it that people who come to you get to realize that they are sensitive? Does that make sense?
So yes, I think it does make sense. Highly sensitive specifically can mean that your brain is just wired a little bit more. I mean, the internal volume can be very loud. Yes,
less filter is how
yeah,
I explain
exactly.
it. Yeah.
So in terms of my own children, as my first was highly sensitive, and I mean highly sensitive to the degree that I could be in the bathroom, close the bathroom cabinet, chink, and a scream would erupt from another room, because their sleep had been disturbed. And then having another a second child, and expecting the same, because that's all I knew about parenting, was that you lay them down to sleep and they get to about this angle and they would wake up screaming. So you kind of have to like get them really close to it, but not past the tilt point. You know, the precision was I didn't know that there was any other way to kind of parent. And then this one came across, and he fell asleep when I was getting him weighed in the doctors, and I couldn't believe it. He was asleep, and I put him on this cold metal scale, and I thought, this is gonna he's gonna blow the roof off. And he kept on sleeping. I was like, wow. So from my experience as a mum of different children, I would say, yes, everybody has sensitivity, and sensitivity as a quality isn't valued as we're growing up. We're kind of told that we need to just toughen it up, and it's getting in the way of what we need to do. And
it's bothersome for the grown-ups.
Yes, exactly. Who don't get it, because they've already dealt with their sensitivity in whatever way they've done, and they're not giving themselves the time to feel their own feelings fully. So their frustration with the younger child who's struggling with their sensitivity is because they're kind of ignoring themselves. You know?
Yes.
So I see this inner conflict. I see this split. I guess it's in everybody, really, I suppose. Everybody has to adjust.
And we are different, and maybe it might show up in different areas. I mean, my oldest is sort of physically sensitive. Like, I think you mentioned new shoes. They always just hurt, even when they're, the perfect size. And we had 3 experts measure feet and size and everything. And
the amount of shoes that I've bought and have never been worn. Expensive shoes.
Yep, the best. And but I think that the sensitivity that I hope we all have, and that I hope everybody gets to find, is that sense of being allowed to be who we are. And and I think that we all have that sort of a sense of intuition or a sense of connection to something inside that is bigger than us. And then aside from that, I don't care if it smells or shoes or loud noises, but if we get to be allowed to keep that sensitivity,
that's it. We become more whole.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I think that's what I felt was missing all those years. I was, hell-bent on fitting into one of those boxes, bending over backwards and trying my darndest to look normal.
No. So that's it, that deep self-compassion and acceptance of who we are as individuals. That's the cornerstone, that's the bed, that's kind of the foundation of it, really. And then when frustration or any kind of unpleasant emotion comes up, you can hold space for that. It's like, it's okay to feel that way, and then it passes through us quicker, because it's not it's not reactivating all that toughen up, you must push on through. So you can get kind of,
I can see that.
The more accepting you are of yourself as you are right now, like not before you've done all the wonderful things.
Not when you tick all the boxes and reach all the goals. And
the acceptance that we have of ourselves in this moment, as we are, with all of our beautiful sensitivity, and that allows us to really connect in with our souls and feel all the feelings we have to feel, and be okay with feeling all the feelings. And that's life, isn't it? That's life.
It's a glorious mess of.
Exactly.
Oh, I love that. That's so powerful. So my last question is going to be, how are we going to get to live in a world where that's the norm?
So I think it's gentleness, the quality we need, and make a place for gentleness and tenderness to ourselves as much as others. Because it starts within, it really does. So the more gentle we can be with ourselves about our reactions and judgments and our own emotions that we're not particularly fond of. I mean, not all emotions are pleasant to experience.
No.
But the more tender we are with ourselves, and the more accepting we are of those experiences, because it's just part of being human. But I'm not saying that in a gaslighting way, you know.
That's a whole other level.
I'm not kind of doing, it's just got to get on with it. It's a human experience. It's really loving ourselves through those unpleasant emotions, and then you actually start turning towards them. And once you can do that, once you can actually open your heart to experience all that life has, then you can respond in a whole way.
When we're not afraid of what's gonna come up, because we know it's not really that scary once there's room for its space and understanding.
Because that's the self-compassion and tenderness with ourselves that provides.
That's just key. I want to live in that world as well.
I know, right?
Yes, everybody deserves to be there. And I think we're getting there, aren't we? For every single person who finds this in ourselves, it's gonna ripple. Out,
absolutely. And I'm noticing now. So my youngest is 6, and she has play dates. And some of the 6-year-olds, they're so wise. I don't know if we were that wise when we were 6. Do you know what I mean? They say they are able to say if there's something they're not happy about doing, they're able to say, I'm feeling a bit scared. I'm not ready to go into that room yet. And they can actually articulate what's going on for them. And
that's big.
Possible. You wouldn't have heard that from a 6-year-old when we were little, I'm sure.
No.
So
I think that's what some teachers are struggling with, that kids are more self-aware and know what they need and what they want. But
they can say no, though. They're harder to manage.
Wow. Saying no, imagine that. If we could have done that growing up, things would have been different.
I know, right? But that's it. Their sovereignty. They're able to express their feelings, accept them as they are. I mean, gosh, that is the future, you know? All those little 6-year-olds.
Yes. So we're in good hands, I think.
We are.
That's a good place to wrap this up, I think. So thank you so much. This has been great. I could keep talking for hours.
I know, I do too.
Yes.
Wonderful to talk to you, Trine.
Oh, you too. So I'm sure people listening in might be feeling the same way. So if they would like to continue the conversation with you, would you give us some links they can find you at?
Yeah, sure. Yes. So find me on Instagram at Emma Camble Intuition.
Oh, yes. We will put all the links in the notes so they're
Great.
easy to find for people.
Fabulous.
Yes.
I look forward to more conversations about sensitivity as superpowers. Yes.
Yes.
So
and
it really
connecting with that's already in there that we might just have been shutting down.
Cherishing it. Yeah.
Yes. That's so good. Thank you so much. And we'll speak soon.
Take care, Trine.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Bye.